Ladies and gentlemen, German battleships never fail to give me a headache. And I know some communities might dunk on me for that statement, but hear me out for a second. Recently I finished overhauling the Großer Kurfürst, and boy, I tell you, it was a doozy. For only adding new rangefinders, spotter planes and a camouflage paint job, it took me way longer than I anticipated. But at least now she's on top of the French battleships. Which brings me to another German battleship that will be topic of this video, the Odin. A while ago I read a comment under one of my videos where someone suggested that I should build it. And here is little silly me saying to myself, sure, no big deal. Well, I was wrong. Let me show you why. What you see here right now is the progress of 5 days of work. 5 days, and this is all I got to show for. This is a nightmare to print. And I haven't even added all of the details yet. How am I going to support all of these platforms? And the staircases? And all of the railings? No way this is being able to be printed in one go. But there is a problem. All of the parts here are connected with each other. For example, here you have the funnel. And you have this platform that goes around it. It leads into a bridge, which is leading over to another platform which is intersecting with the main tower. It is connected to 2 other platforms above and below it. And from there respectively, staircases lead to other platforms as well. All in all, there are 6 staircases connecting 7 platforms. That's a lot. If printed, this distance here would be smaller than 1 mm. And the problem is, how am I going to paint this area? Well, brushes can get pretty thin, but if I want to paint details and a camouflage pattern, well, it can get difficult. So if I want the paint job to look good, I have to separate the staircase in the print. Which brings us to another problem. As you can see here, the handrail of the staircase is connected to the wall. The wall it actually needs to be separated from. And that is true for all of the 6 staircases. So what I'm going to do in this video is make a breakdown how I separate all of the parts. And I'm going to start with the funnel. Initially I looked at it and thought, there is this platform here, maybe that's a good line to separate it. Why would I even want to separate it in the first place? Well, it's because of all of these details here. But then I realized this ladder, which is one piece. It goes all the way to the top of the funnel. And I cannot print the ladder as a separate part because here it is intersecting with the details. And there went my idea of splitting the funnel in 2 for easier printing. However, I still had to separate it from the main superstructure. And there is this one point where the platform leads into this bridge, so I decided to separate it here. And here is what the model of the funnel looks like. You might notice these cutouts. This is where the beams of the bridge will be inserted later. For the Odin I have experimented with cutouts a lot. Still not sure if they will work, because as of day of this recording I have not even printed all of the parts. But let's leave aside the funnel for now and move on to other parts. I need to decide now which parts will go together. And for that purpose now I'm going to hide all of the details because they just pose a distraction. So that looks a little bit better. Now I can engage into some deep thinking and take some time to look around, just to realize that there are still some details that I haven't hidden yet, these planks here. So let's hide them for now as well. So this is the superstructure broken down to the most basic elements, I guess. Now I can think about which parts I am not going to include in the superstructure. And what I notice are these small platforms. They don't really intersect with the tower too much, so they can just be glued on later. It is not so easy with the navigation bridge, because the platform it is connected to encloses the entire main tower. Okay, let's analyze some more stuff. We have this section here, which is basically the hangar of the seaplanes. And then there is also this platform which is connected to this section. And they are definitely going to be one part. For the rest I am not yet quite sure how to separate them. Let's remove further distractions and hide all of these platforms and the mast and all this stuff we don't need yet. Now we have an even more stripped down version of the superstructure. And I could separate the main tower from this lower part here at the section I'm marking right now. But I don't want to do that for two reasons. First, I don't want to have any visible seams in this surface that's going all the way down. Second, we have these elements here intersecting with each other. This wall, for the lack of a better word, is very thin and could break off very easily. I did have something similar with the GK and it didn't work out very well. There's a very big visible gap which I don't like. So let's join the main tower and the lower part together. Then I'm going to take all of these surfaces at the bottom and extrude them out. Why, I explain later. Before I go on with any of this, I'm going to export this entire part as an STL. I import it into Prusa Slicer to repair it, only to realize that I missed something. Back into Blender, I join the barbettes to the superstructure and export it again as an STL. Bring it back into Prusa Slicer to finally repair it. I want to hollow the model, and for that it is necessary that the geometry is absolutely clean. And the repair function of Prusa Slicer has proven to be pretty reliable for me. Now the repaired model needs to be exported again as an STL. Then we bring it into Mesh Mixer where we hollow it. Export as STL, import back into Blender, move it into position, and now I'm going to cut off the entire section that I extruded out earlier. So we end up with this result. The geometry is still pretty dense and we don't need that, so we are going to reduce it. Now we take all of the details that need to be attached to this object and join them together. Then I will unhide the planks again, and I realize that there is one platform that I need to integrate into this part of the superstructure, because usually planks are not just floating in the air like that. Unless you are using Siemens air hooks, of course. For all of the planks, I have a simple geometry node setup which allows me to generate them very easily. I picked that up while working on the Flandre. Then I need to make some cutouts for the turrets and rangefinders. This design that I have here has proven to be pretty reliable. As long as the parts don't get too small. It's okay for main and secondary guns and even for big rangefinders, but for small rangefinders this is just not feasible. Now on to this hangar section for the seaplanes. This is how I plan to assemble it or connect it to the main part. I want to slide it in like this and move it down like that afterwards. I have made a cutout here for the beams of the platform to connect to. So I think that looks pretty solid so far. Now I have to carefully look at the railing here. So I have to think about which parts of the railing go where. So I can take this here, well, because it's pretty obvious this is all connected to this platform here, to this part of the superstructure. So all of this, all of this will be joined to this element here. So let's do that. So now this can be joined together with this. Now this one, because the railing here is intersecting with this pole, I need to separate the pole from this element here and join the pole together with this part of the superstructure. And yeah, this is a little bit, let's fill that. So now, yeah, we need to move that down a little bit, and probably we are going to inset. No, that's not what I wanted. Oh, yeah, a lot of vertices that I don't need. Now we can go on. So let's fill that, and now filling that hole, that's too much. 1 degree is enough, and now we move this up a little bit and use a boolean, and now this should come together nicely. And now on the other side we just need to delete all of this, and this can be applied, and this piece can be attached to this part of the superstructure. Now on with the railing. Let's take care of these here first, or next. So separate them out, delete these because they are symmetrical. First, this needs to be moved a little bit in, and this needs to be moved in like that. This part can be directly joined because it's not really causing any issues. This, yeah, I think I'm going to print that separately. So let's, oh yeah, I forgot to mirror these. And now we go. So yeah, this will be a separate part, so we hide it for now. This here, it can be joined to the superstructure. I'm not going to print it as a separate part because keep in mind, when I print it, it will look like this, and I have enough room to paint it here. So no need to separate that. And the same goes for this part here. So let's do that next.
A few moments later.
This one, yeah, we are going to move it in a little bit because, well, yeah, I don't like that. That should be not okay yet. Now, that's better. And let's move that in like this. A mirror modifier, apply all of the transformations, and here we go. So let's move on with adding the details. All of these parts can just be joined together with the superstructure here. These ladders, at least these two, can be joined together, and yeah. So let's hide the funnel for a moment and see what we have here. Oh yeah, these staircases. I have done something to it. Here we go. And now next thing is here the mast. So I will have to think about that for a while.
A few minutes later.
So here's what I came up with. Let's hide that. I have designed it like this because you have all these railings here that intersect with the mast and the platform here, so I didn't find a good way to separate it, so I had to do something like this here. And yeah, it's probably very prone to breaking because this distance here is, I would say, about 0.4 millimeters only. But yeah, I didn't find a better way. I have also designed some, well, let's call them sockets for the railing that will be added here later. And also here for the railing of the staircase. Here. And some other sockets, so it will be easier to assemble the parts. Now I have to take care of all of this. One major problem is this pole that goes up here and that is intersecting with the railing and this other platform. So this railing or this platform will be joined together with this part, with the main part here, because we have these planks that go actually all the way through that, and I don't want a visual seam here, so this needs to be joined together with this here. But this is also kinda problematic because I don't want to print it together with the railing, because when I'm going to paint the wood, these planks, the railing is probably gonna break off. So yeah, this needs to be separated, and I do not yet know how to best do it, because again, we have this pole here which is intersecting with this platform and the railing. So I think these two will have to go together, though I don't really like that idea, but well, I think I'm gonna figure it out.
20 minutes later.
And yeah, I actually did, but it took me some time, so... And I also didn't record it. Now let's get into preparations for 3D printing.
The following day.
So that looks okay, I think. It's not ideal, but I guess I can make do with it.
2 hours later.
For all of you who are wondering, why did you do that? Here's why. I exported the model like this. I didn't include the planks of wood. Yeah, that was pretty dumb. I'm sitting here, staring at my screen in disbelief, wondering, how could I be so blind? It sucks, not gonna lie. Now just suck it up and keep on going.
Several days later.
And yes, it really was a few days. I'll show you some clips of painting and assembling the model. If you want to jump ahead to the final result, I have put timestamps in the video description. But for now, I'm gonna need a break from the Odin. That was really tough. Guess for now I'm gonna stick to something easier, like the Satsuma. I have learned a lot of valuable lessons that I can apply there. And a new video will be coming out soon. For now I'm gonna close out this video with some painting footage, and I hope to see you again very soon.